Hello and welcome, Flesh and Blood fans. This is Calebovitsch coming to you with another episode of VeteRandom Thoughts. Today I wanted to talk about how to build a deck in Flesh and Blood, a task much more difficult than one might expect, especially the net deckers. Anyway, as I had already mentioned, when I started this game, I just plain simple got a deck. I played with the deck. Then I wanted to play a different hero, so I looked for a list on the internet, built that. Sometime later, I wanted to build a deck on my own, and once I started, I got overwhelmed. In Flesh and Blood, there is a ton of choices. Which hero to play, which equipment to use, which weapons to wield, which cards to include, and of which pitch value. The list of choices goes on and on and on. And on top of that, in Classic Constructed, you have to have some sideboard for different matchups. But first things first, pick a hero, any hero. You can choose the one you think looks the coolest, has the best ability, has a lot of good cards, or just get the one that won the last Pro Tour, why not? Done? Good. Now, pick a win condition. Any win condition. Will you go wide and slash your opponent with multiple attacks each turn? Will you power up a single huge hit? Or will you reach out to 4 buddies, get the rings going, and summon Captain Planet to give your next attack +2 strength dominate and go again, and again, and again? Building a deck is a matter of proportions and the metagame. A good example of how the perceived metagame can influence your deck building choices is from a couple of months ago when I was testing several variants of my Oldhim deck in Blitz. I had a version with a lot of defense reactions for all the warriors, ninjas, and rangers. Then, I had one with Command and Conquer and Pummel, good old CNC and P, for OTK decks such as Viserai or Bolton. Then I had a more aggressive version, when I thought I would have to play a lot versus control, mirror matches, and stuff like that. When it comes to proportions, you have to remember that each hero focuses on something specific. Like Prism needs yellow cards, yellow pitch cards. Rune Blades need a perfect balance of attack and non-attack actions. Chain and Levia need cards with Blood Debt. Oldhim and Starvo need a decent amount of elemental cards. Lexi needs to have both arrows and element for fusion. And the list goes on and on and on. You have to determine how much of your main specific something you need. For example, in Blitz Kasai builds, the deck you're playing focuses on attacking with 2 weapons each turn, which means you need to have a lot of ways to give your first weapon attack a go again. You need to be sure you can get at least one such effect each turn, which leads to a number usually between 15 and 20 in a 40-card deck. You can obviously do this by mathematical distribution, probabilities, or just by a gut feeling. Then you have to think about how many resources you need each round to further your plan. Guardians strive on running tons of blues to power their 3, 5, 7, or even 10 cost attacks. Briar usually needs either 0 resources for all her attacks, 1 resource to come in with Rosetta Thorn, or a blue earth pitch to play Channel Mount Heroic. Hence, all reds and some blue earth cards. Easy. The Club Control Reinar usually defends with 3 cards and returns 4/4 by pitching a yellow or a blue, hence he needs a decent amount of cards in those 2 pitch values. Then, once you have that all, you finish it off by adding support for your combo pieces or for your win condition, such as attack or defense reactions, non-attack actions, and instants that focus on specific things, for example, additional intimidates in a Reinar deck. You include equipment, taking into consideration the added value it provides. For example, Briar currently likes to run Fiendel's Spring Tunic for that Rosetta Thorn attack every 3rd turn. Dorinthia likes her Refraction Bolters for the guaranteed go again on a crucial turn. And Chain takes into consideration Spellbound Creepers for absurd out-of-turn order plays that astound and or confound opponents. When you're thinking in terms of Classic Constructed, you have to remember that the 80 cards that you bring to the table, you have to from all those cards, you have to present your opponent with a 60+ card deck. That means pre-boarding based on what hero you're playing against, creating a deck from a slightly larger pile of cards. It is best to come really prepared for this and think on your card choices way before the game starts. What I usually do is I have a main deck of usually 45 to 55 cards, with the rest being a sideboard that I keep separate. I also have a list, either memorized or written down, usually written down. My memory is not what it used to be, of what I want to bring in for each matchup. Once you've done all this, congratulations! Your greatest invention is finally complete! Now go forth and rejoice, and by that I mean just play the deck. Playtest to your heart's delight, because that is the actual next step. You need to take a look if your contraption works, which pieces fit, which don't, what you can do better. This is all just a part of your deck's evolution. And most importantly, remember to have fun in exploring all the intricacies of Flesh and Blood. I know I am. See you at the tables.